All right, that is our season. Uh, gotta say, we won 37-35. Gotta say that, as meaningless Week 17 games go, that's about the best one I've ever seen. That was a really entertaining game. Um, the big thing was Jefferson record. He got it. Um, I don't know what he ended up with total for the game, but he broke the Moss record and then he broke Bolden's record. So so he's in the record books, all time leading rookie receiver in yardage. Kirk threw for 400 yards, man. Kirk had a big game. It was bad at the start. It was kind of missed. First like three drives were awful, but then after that they were just a machine. And of course, Detroit's offense was a machine because our defense is very much not a machine. Um, but I mean, it made for a very entertaining game. I mean, you can't deny that. That was really 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 a lot of fun to watch it and not have to be like, oh my god, the fate of the franchise hangs in the balance. But yeah, big, huge game from Kirk, big record-setting game from Jefferson. Madison had a couple touchdowns. He had a really, really good one on a screen. We had that crazy one right before the half where uh, Kirk fired one down the sideline for BB, and it was like the Minneapolis Miracle. So almost like he should have been tackled in bounds, but he wasn't. And he's a little guy, and he shot through and scored. So that was cool. You don't want to waste a play like that in a meaningless game, but that's where we are. Um, we even got some help from the refs on a couple of plays. You know, look, we've been screwed by the refs plenty this year. Okay, that Dallas game was an abomination. The Tampa game was a joke. But we got two calls that were really bad. The one, where they overturned a Detroit touchdown in the end zone, that didn't matter because they went and scored anyway. But that roughing the passer on Kirk was horrible. That was a horrible call. That was like an Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady call. That was, it's like that's what they feel. Those fan bases feel like every week. Um, but like yeah, they you know we got to see Kirk do the gritty. That was fun, right? That was adorable. It was the most adorable thing I've ever seen. Um, Kind of flies in the face of all this. The media's been trying to hype it up the last couple of weeks that Justin Jefferson hates Kirk Cousins because they want him to be just like Stephon Diggs and hate Kirk Cousins. But he's dancing the gritty with him in the end zone. I don't think he hates him. Um, but yeah, a lot of. I mean, if nothing else, in a meaningless game like this, you get to pad your stats, and man, that was. But that was fun watching their offense just fly down the field. I mean, um, and our defense was bad again because it's been bad for 6 weeks now or whatever. But um, you know, whatever. Stopped him on a two. That was important. What Harrison Smith got an interception. I think we got one or two sacks in there. Oh, Mataafa got a sack. You know, that's all you can. Gladney had one really good stick on a receiver. So it's like it's kind of just you know what it is with the defense. Defense, hopefully the next time the Vikings take a field in a meaningful game, this defense looks a whole lot different. Um, and I think it will. I mean, I'm not going to do like a season post mortem thing. Maybe I'll do that later. But um, you know, for this game, the defense was bad, but they were going to be bad. Adrian Peterson got a touchdown on us. He had never gotten one on us the few times that he played against us. I wasn't even mad. I was like, hey, that's good for Adrian get one on us. He busted another run at one point. I was almost happy. Like, I like seeing Adrian Peterson out there. I hope this wasn't his last game in the NFL. I hope he plays next year. I'm sure he wants to. Um, you know, Fuck, I'd take him back here as a third down, like a not third down back, but like a third running back. But I don't think that'll happen. Um, but you know, we didn't have Dalvin, um, obviously, and but Madison looked good. No, hell, we clinched the game on a 4th and 1 Madison run. If only we had done that about 3 months ago against Seattle, you know. But yeah, I mean, we had another good 4th and 1 play where we actually did something. It's like thanks Kubiak, thanks for saving the non-shitty 4th and short plays for the game that doesn't matter. I still want Kubiak gone. Nothing that I was going to see today, good or bad, was going to change that. I want Kubiak to not be the play caller, offensive coordinator next year. I don't expect it. I think it's unlikely because I mean, sorry, Zimmer haters. Zimmer ain't going to be fired either, but he shouldn't be fired. Like, again, I'll do postmortem stuff later, but you know, if I see one more person like mockingly refer to him as a defensive genius, well, yeah, he's got no fucking players out there. He had no players out there today. Anthony Harris, this was his last game with the Vikings. He had just a terrible year and a terrible game today. You know, I don't know what happened to him. His fall off is really just baffling. I don't understand it. But you know, offensive line. They didn't try anything different with the offensive line today, which I kind of agree with because if you're gonna play Kirk, you're not gonna experiment with the offensive line in a Week 17 game like this. You're not gonna get that much out of it. It's gonna help them a lot more if they have a real off season, which I think they're gonna certainly have more of an off season than they did this past year. It's not going to do you much good to throw Ezra Cleveland over at left tackle for a game when he hasn't played there, or even like throw in somebody else at one of the guards. I mean, we had another Dakota Dozier penalty. That was fun. God, I hope it's the last game for him. It'll be last. This will be the last game for a lot of Vikings. Anthony Harris, I think, is gone. I think Eric Wilson's probably gone because you're not going to pay him when you're already paying Barr and Kendricks. And I would rather have Barr than Wilson. I would. I mean, Barr gets a lot of shit because they're like, oh, he gets all this money and he doesn't do anything. Well, he's kind of a what's the he's like the Swiss Army knife of the Vikings defense. Like, he does a lot, and so does Kendricks. Like, the linebackers do a lot of stuff. And it's not that Wilson's bad. It's just you're not gonna in an off season where I don't know what they're gonna do with the cap. That hasn't been official yet. I don't think it's gonna drop like a lot of people are saying it's gonna drop, because if they do that, there's gonna be so many players that are just thrown out there that have no chance to even get paid or even have a roster spot really. But you're not gonna pay him. But you're not gonna have three highly paid linebackers. But obviously a lot of like the backup guys who've basically been our whole defense most of the season. A lot of them won't be back. Like I said, Harris won't be back. Rudolph didn't play, but I don't see how they could justify bringing him back when you've got Irv Smith and Conklin's looked pretty damn good these last few weeks. Riley Reef did not play today. It's unlikely, I would think, that he's back, because if you want to shift Cleveland over to left tackle, which is what he was drafted to be, you gotta let Reef go. They're not getting rid of Kirk Cousins. I mean, I'm sure it's gonna be a whole off season. It's gonna be unbearable, the talk about drafting quarterback, and they might draft a quarterback. We'll see. Again, that's post-mortem. I try to keep it off-season, season recap shit. I might do that later, after we kind of see what happens with the whole league. I kind of recap the league. Browns got in. All it took, they almost fucking blew like a 2-touchdown fourth quarter lead to Mason Rudolph, but they got in. I think Pittsburgh's gonna regret that, because they might have to play Cleveland now. And Jesus fucking Christ, Buffalo just absolutely murdered the Dolphins. Like, you compare this Bills and Steelers, like they're the 2 and 3 in the AFC. Pittsburgh has no chance to go to the Super Bowl. I think Buffalo does. Buffalo's the one team I wouldn't be shocked if they went in and beat Kansas City. But back to the Vikings. Bailey missed another couple kicks. He had a missed PAT today. It was the worst PAT shank I've ever seen. He kicked and it just went like completely like left and like it was the worst PAT shank I've ever seen in my life. I don't know what like and he missed a like a 40 something yard field goal pretty badly as well. Like I don't know. I'm not sure what you do with him. I mean, he was on the injury report this week. I was kind of questioning it. Like, are they just saying that he was hurt because they know they're gonna bring him back next year, and they want to kind of float this as like, oh no, he wasn't bad. He was actually kind of hurt this year, so because his contract makes it hard to get rid of. Note to the Vikings: don't ever sign a kicker to an extension, because this shit happened with Blair Walsh. You signed Blair Walsh to the extension, and he immediately just fell apart. You signed Dan Bailey to an extension, or I think it was just a free agent, but you signed him to a multi-year contract, and he just falls apart. Never do it. 1 year deals for kickers. Nothing beyond that ever again. It just doesn't work out for us. But yeah, I don't know what you do with Bailey. I mean, in a perfect world, I think he'd be cut for sure, but I don't know that that's what they're going to want to do. They had a practice squad kicker. I thought they were maybe going to bring him up this week and have him kick, but they gave Bailey the nod this week, and he made some kicks, but he also missed a couple, and he missed one that was as bad a PAT miss as I've ever seen. But yeah, so but it was an entertaining game. You can't deny the entertainment value of that game you saw today. And of course the tank Nazis. Hell, they came back and they're mad that we'll see what with some other games and results what the draft position ends up being, but like winning this game maybe cost us a couple spots in the draft. Just shut up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. People think it matters. It doesn't fucking matter. It's like we just got the best rookie wide receiver to come in the NFL in years, and we picked later than we're going to be picking next April. So shut the fuck up about, oh no, we're screwing over our draft position. No, we're not. This stuff just works itself out. It just does. If you want to I mean, the idea that anyone is like out there thinking that quarterback is the number one need on this team after what we've seen this year and even today, and you can say it was garbage time, but sure, okay. Tom Brady lit up the fucking Lions last week, and they wanted to, suck his fucking dick on all the national media. Like, it's like Kirk had an excellent year, especially after the bye. I don't know what he struggled before the bye, but after the bye, he was great. And you can't take away the games early, but it's like the idea that you have to get a rookie quarterback for this team to win is madness. It's madness. It's been madness all year. Fix the defense, get that O-line fixed, and hopefully, honestly, get maybe a better offensive coordinator. But so it wasn't the season we wanted. 7-9. We end up. We end up with the third place schedule instead of the fourth place schedule. So I think I saw that means we play. I think we play Atlanta and Dallas maybe instead of like Carolina and Philly or something like that. Although Dallas just lost, so maybe that changes. But I mean it doesn't matter. And you're gonna hear the nonstop talk about, oh, we screwed up our draft position because we won this last meaningless game and we shouldn't have won the other games. Just shut up. Like, I look at it that they went 7-9 with this defense with this offensive line with everything going against them, like this was a 2-14 thing with a lot of other coaches and a lot of other quarterbacks. And 7-9 isn't great. It's not playoffs. It's not, might be the playoffs in the NFC East, but um, it didn't get us where we want to go. But like, it ain't because of Kirk. It's like Kirk Cousins is so bad. How did he just get Justin Jefferson the rookie receiving yardage record? But hey, I guess Jefferson threw those passes to himself because he must be that good. But again, that's like overall season stuff. But for this game, fun game. It was nice not having you know, heart palpitations through the game. We had a lot of those this year. I mean, that last week wasn't that nervous either, but it wasn't fun because we were getting the shit kicked out of us. At least this one was fun. It was kind of, nice back and forth game with a couple of bad defenses and a couple of pretty good offenses. And, now we get to watch Packers Bears and see who gets in the playoffs. Only guys who've clinched. No, it was clinched yet in the NFC. AFC, it's Baltimore clinched and Cleveland clinched. And Miami's in trouble because of, I think if either Indianapolis or I think if Indy and Tennessee both win, then Miami's out. That's boy, they needed some Fitz magic. We're going into the long, cold winter now. There's gonna be lots of time to talk about, off-season moves and draft and all this stuff. And I think, and I always think this way because it's just how I am as a fan. I'm very optimistic about the Vikings for 2021 because, I look at it. I don't look at it as, oh my god, we just went 7-9. What a fucking failure! Fire everybody. I look at it that we went 7-9 with just a fucking avalanche of shit that went against us. And maybe I'll do a overall season recap and kind of chronicle it all. But if you follow them, you know what happened. If you follow the Vikings this year, you know all the stuff going back to freaking, Michael Pierce opting out in July or whatever it was. Like, it just never stopped. It didn't stop ever. Like, we just kept getting screwed with everything, And no NFL, the referee karma is not even now because you called a terrible roughing the passer call on Kirk and you overturned a Lions touchdown. That was a touchdown. It's like we ain't even. We ain't even from some of that stuff that happened this year. But I mean, it wasn't. The defense, completely lost any sense of competency once Kendricks went out. And who knows? Maybe if things were a little more playoff likely the last couple weeks, maybe Kendricks plays. But it wasn't the year. It wasn't the year to, like if you had to pick a year to have all this stuff happen, you might as well pick a year where you can't go to a game, and even watching on TV, it's not quite the same. Like this game today, they were. I don't think there were fans in the stands, but if there were, there weren't many, and that's how it was most of the year. It's just so it just was the year where nothing worked out, and a lot of media and fans want to talk about it as a failure for Zimmer. I still look at it that like he got 7 wins. He squeezed 7 wins out of this team this year with this defense and this offensive line and this schedule. Fuck this, we're gonna end up having played half our schedule against playoff teams probably. I don't look at the season as a failure. I just don't, like, not in that way. I mean, obviously it's a big disappointment to go from 10-6 and a great playoff win to 7-9 and out of the playoffs, but That's why I look at it with Zimmer like his bat, like this ties for his worst year. His worst year is 7-9 out of 7 years or whatever. Like what you know, other coaches, their worst year is 2-14. You know, I think Zimmer did a good job this year. All things considered, of just piecing this thing together. And once Kendricks was gone, that was it. Like, you know, it's like you can only take so much, and then it's one domino too many fell, and that was it. You know, but I mean, grabbing this team from 1-5 to getting them for only a week into a playoff position. I mean, I think that was an accomplishment. And people can do their tank Nazi shit and whine that we screwed our draft position and we didn't get Trevor Lawrence. Well, see that game the other day. Maybe Trevor Lawrence isn't all that. Maybe Justin Fields is the guy we should want. Maybe the guy from Alabama is the guy we should want. And you can get somebody if they want to take a quarterback when whatever our draft pick ends up being 14, 15, something like that. Fine, but it's like we got a quarterback who is really, really good and you can win with him. So fix that fucking defense. Get that defense back up to something resembling what it was a couple years ago. And Kirk's got prime years left, and let's go. Let's do it. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers ain't going to play forever. Trust me. You know, the refs may do what they can to get him to play forever, but, trust me, he ain't going to play forever. You know. But yeah, so I'll wrap this up. I'm doing too much overall season talk here. This is Vikings-Lions recap video that you're breathlessly watching here. Yeah, I could have picked a better year to do Vikings videos after they, it wasn't me, was it? But like, if you gotta go out on a meaningless win, and I don't even consider it meaningless because, like, you gotta, tanking is for fucking losers. It's for loser fans and loser franchises. I'm sorry, it just is. Go out there, I'm glad they went out there today and played a good game, at least on offense. And it was an entertaining game. It's not gonna fuel anybody for a whole off season. You can't live off of a week 17 win to go to 7-9. But we ain't gonna see him again till we ain't gonna see him in any sort of game action till at least August, and maybe not even September, depending on what happens with how they do the off season this year. I think it'll be more normal. I mean, it's gonna be something more normal than last year, but 7-9. But a good game today. It's nice to see Kirk sling it around a little bit. Jefferson got his record. Harry got a pick, and got to see Adrian one more time. I hope Adrian comes back somewhere. But so yeah, that's it for week 17. We will talk about other things Vikings and NFL related as the days and weeks and months go by.